Hi there, my name's John Simmers and I'm a professional violin and bow maker. In today's video, it's pretty simple really, just going to put a coat of varnish on a violin. I've got a violin here that I've been working on, the woodwork's all finished, the ground is applied, that's just a system of colouring the wood, getting a bit of oxidization into it and sealing it. And today we're just going to put a clear coat of varnish on it. I sometimes use an unpigmented coat of varnish to isolate the coloured layers from the ground. That's very pale. I've got a couple of different varnishes here. I've got, they're both clear, as in no pigment, amber varnishes, and one is with the dark amber cooked into it, the other one's quite pale. I've just tried the two to see what I prefer the look of. I think the ground needs a bit more colour, or the instrument needs a bit more colour before I start on the pigmented varnish, so I think I'm going to use the dark one. Although, maybe I'll put a bit of the light one in. I've decided what I'm actually going to do is mix a bit of the two together. This dark one being made from a very well cooked resin, it's quite thick. The lighter coloured one is more viscous, and I think it has a bit more oil in it as well. It'll make it a little bit easier to brush. Now I'm going to thin it down with a little bit of solvent, not too much. The nice thing about using a system of good oil varnishes is you can mix and match them to get the result that you require. Some varnishes are harder and some are softer. Even if it's a different type of resin, they tend to work quite well together. To create a varnish that's suitable for our climate here in Brisbane, it's quite hot and humid sometimes, and some varnishes are just too soft. So I can actually use a hard varnish and blend that with something a little bit more supple in certain proportions and get the result that I'm after. As well as brushing the varnish, I will often actually use my fingers and hands to manipulate it, sometimes to spread it out or to take it off edges and corners. That's the scroll done, almost, and it's looking pretty good. One of the nice things about using an oil varnish, apart from the fact that it's actually the traditional varnish used for violins, is that it has an open working time, so you can put it on and manipulate it before it dries. This varnish does dry fairly quickly, so you don't have too much time, but there's enough time to be able to manage it. The woodwork on this instrument has been done in such a way, or finished in such a way, for an antiqued finish, so a lot of this varnish is actually going to come off again. But I think you get a much nicer result if you varnish the instrument fully before you start antiquing it. Now, as I always say with these videos, this isn't a how to do video. I'm not showing you how to varnish a violin, but I am showing you one of the steps, because I thought string players might want to know how it's done. This is just one stage in the varnishing process. There's still quite a lot of work to go yet. It's a very important stage though, because all of the coats of varnish that go on top of this are affected by what's underneath. So I do spend quite a bit of time trying to get this just right. Varnishing can be very unpredictable and somewhat stressful at times. Every type of varnish tends to behave differently. I presume it's to do with what's underneath it and the weather, humidity, temperature, etc. So you need a bag of tricks to pull tools out of as you go. Sometimes you're making it up on the run. I guess that's metaphoric tools, not physical tools. So the rib's all done. Time to move on to the front. I think I made the right choice when I decided to blend those two varnishes together. I think the dark resin on its own was going to be too dark, and I was a bit worried about losing a bit of transparency. This violin that I'm varnishing isn't actually one that I've made myself. It's one of our studio series, we call it, the highest level. I've got a friend with a workshop overseas who can make an instrument for me more cheaply than I can. So I send my wood to him and I've given him my models, etc., and I can specify what I want. In this particular case, the instrument was maybe half finished by the time I got it. But I've actually finished off all the arching, all the graduations, cut the F-holes, fitted the bass bar. All of that's been done by myself in my workshop. And obviously the varnishing as well. The idea of doing that is to be able to produce an instrument which is of very high quality, but at about half the cost of one of mine. The way I approach that type of work is that my colleagues shouldn't really be able to tell the difference. I am completely honest about these instruments. I don't try and sell them as something that I've made myself. They're priced accordingly. But I don't skimp or cut corners at all, just because the price is less. The lower price is achieved by outsourcing some of the labour. Interestingly, the spruce that the front of this violin is made of was from a tree that I bought quite some time ago, now about 15 years ago. Grew at a very high altitude in the Alps in Europe, and a friend and I bought a number of trees, split them up into blanks, and it's the same wood that I make my own violins out of. It's really nice spruce. And part of the incentive for doing this project with the studio instruments was because I do have so much really great wood. more than I'll ever be able to use, so by getting someone else to do some of the work for me, I get to see that beautiful wood turn into instruments. There we are. All done. Hopefully you found that interesting. This violin's going to go into my drying cabinet now. It's a big box with UV lights in it. The UV just cures the varnish. I'll get another coat on tomorrow. I tend to be able to get one coat on a day. I could probably get more on, but I really like to make sure that varnish is well cured before I put the next coat on. It's 2 weeks later now, and this is the violin that I put that coat of varnish on. It's all pretty much done. The fingerboard went back on yesterday. The varnish, all the coats of varnish are there. A lot of it's been taken off. All the antiquing process has been completed. Very happy with the result. It's a great looking varnish, very clear. The reflection and the ground, I'm really happy with. Thanks for watching At the Bench. I'll see you here next time.